Hi everyone, my name is Kelly and I am a solution consultant with Echo Consulting. And today I'm going to walk you through how to create a current user dashboard. A question that we receive from a lot of our clients is, how do I have a view where I can see everything that I'm working on across multiple projects? So your organization might have 10 or 20 projects and you may be working across 3 or 4. This is a way to see everything that you have on your plate across the board without having to go into every individual project plan or every individual RAID log. So let's get started. I have an example here. So this is the current user dashboard that we are going to create today. So the first thing I'm going to do is just get into my demo workspace and I'm going to create a dashboard. The first thing that I want to do is I want to make sure that it's clear to the user what this dashboard is for. So I'm going to add a title to the top. We'll call it what we had over there, which was current user. And then we'll say my tasks dashboard. Maybe we'll change that from bold, put that like this. Something you can do to really brand it and make it your own, you can add your logo to it. So we use this image widget and I'm gonna upload an Echo Consulting logo and put that over here in the top right-hand corner. So that way, when you get to the dashboard, you know what it's for. This is a My Tasks dashboard. This is going to show me all of my own tasks. Something that we'll typically do in addition to showing the user's tasks is we'll show them what projects that they're associated with. So I already have some pre-created reports. I'm going to go ahead and add one of the reports to the dashboard, show you how to configure it, and then we'll go into the report itself to show you how the filters work. So I'm going to add a widget and select report. Now the key thing here is when you're building a current user dashboard, it is going to primarily consist of reports. The report is where the current user functionality within Smartsheet works. Essentially, there's a filter that's available that allows you to select based on a contact column to say, filter the results based on the current user that is logged in at the time. So Smartsheet knows what your user account is, who you are when you're logged into Smartsheet. So then it can automatically update the results of the report to show for that particular person logged in. So what does that mean? The current user dashboard is going to look different for every single person that looks at it. Generally same report, same layout, but it's going to show them their own tasks. So I'm going to go ahead and add the report. And I believe I have a full report called My Projects. Now, a couple of formatting options for this the report. I don't really want a Gantt view for this particular report, so I'm going to hide the Gantt. For widget behavior, I do want it to open the data source. So if I'm a user, I want to be able to click into the report if I'd like. And then viewer mode, this is the most important part when you're setting up a current user dashboard. All of the reports need to be set to their own perspective. Otherwise, whoever built the dashboard, if you keep it at last widget editor, that user will see the person who created the dashboard see their tasks. So their own perspective, it even has a little what's the difference here? And you can see the little descriptors that Smartsheet has, and there's a link that you can access. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to add all the other reports in just a couple minutes. And I'm going to click into the report so we can take a look at the filters and really see what's going on in here. So this report is connected to my intake sheet. The intake sheet is where I have a list of all of the projects that are currently active with Echo Consulting. This is, of course, test data. So you can see the source of the report is our project intake. I selected a series of 7 columns that are relevant for this particular report and what I think that the user would be interested in seeing and what is most useful. The filter that I have is the project lead, that's the contact column in the intake sheet, has any of, and then current user. So it will show the list of names, but then you can click current user. So that is the other most key component, is setting the filter to current user. I'm going to go back to the dashboard, and then on the dashboard itself, it's really critical to have this viewer mode as their own perspective. 2 most important parts to make sure that the current user dashboard is going to work appropriately. So I'm going to go ahead and add a few more reports. Let's see. So I had created a report for past due tasks for a current user. We typically like to make sure that we're including the most important information at the top. So really, what is the action that we need to take right away? I'm going to hide the Gantt on this because it's irrelevant. Past due tasks would be relevant right away, right? Because these are tasks that I need to take action on immediately. So that's why we usually put past due towards the top. Next up, I'm going to put a report for the, okay, so now I'm going to put a report for what is coming up due soon. So I believe I have one for due in the next 2 weeks. Current user. Perfect. It's defaulting to using that Gantt view, so I'm going to hide that each time. As I scroll, you can see I have it grouped by project as well within these reports, and I can show you what that looks like in a couple minutes as well. And then the last one from a project plan perspective is I'm going to add a report that shows milestones that are due in the next 30 days. So I can know really what's on my plate coming up, what are the critical milestones I need to be aware of. Now, what I didn't do as I added these reports was I didn't go in and I didn't update the widget behavior in the viewer mode. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Open the data source, their own perspective. Open the data source, their own perspective. Open the data source, their own perspective. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And I'm going to click into one of these reports just to show you the filters on these examples. So here, the sheets I have selected are the 3 project plans that I'm using as an example. You can use workspace selection if you need to include projects that are being created consistently within a workspace. Otherwise, each time a project is created, you're going to need to make sure that that project plan is added into the report. So the workspace selection kind of allows you to skip that step. But depending on your use case, you may need to check it off as you go. The filters on this report, of course, I have the filters for what I'm trying to show. So the status needs to not be completed or canceled because I'm only trying to show open tasks. The finish is in the next 14 days because I'm looking to only look at tasks that are due in the next 2 weeks. And then that assigned to field, which is that contact field, has any of the current user. Right, so that's important for that report to work. The last piece I'm going to add to this current user dashboard is a CRAID report. I'm going to go ahead and add the report. Oops, I already have it here. And I believe I have open CRAID by type. Here we go. Open CRAID items by type. There it is. And for this one, I'm actually also going to include a little graphic. So let me move this one over a little bit so I have space. Let's see. Put that there. Let's make sure my report settings are correct. Open the data source and their own perspective. Now you can also include current user charts. Any current user charts have to be fueled by a report. Charts can also be fueled typically by a metric sheet. We have another video on our channel that shows you the 2 different ways that you can create charts on a dashboard. So check that out if you have not yet. But for current user chart specifically, it has to be sourced by a report. So I'm going to click chart. I'm going to add data, and I'm actually going to search for that same CRAID report. Open CRAID items by type. And I'm looking for the one that's current user. And I'm going to try to fit it up here. Now I can play around with this and I can change the chart type. So for this, I might do a pie chart. So I can see different colors. In this case, I want to show the amount of CRAID items versus the percentage of items. And then I want the legend to go on the bottom because it looks a little bit crowded. And let me make sure that I have viewer mode. So this is key again, even for a chart, you need to make sure that their own perspective is set up. And you can also click through the data source on the chart as well. So essentially this chart is just a visual representation of the report on the right-hand side, but it allows them to see a more visual representation to say, okay, how many actions do I have on my plate? How many issues? How many risks? That sort of thing. And you can do that for every type of report that you build. You do just need to make sure that you have a grouping and in the reports and a summary. So if I click into this CRAID report, again, you're going to see a group by CRAID type. That's what tells the chart to how to separate the data. So that's why you can see it by action, change request, decision, issue, risk. And then it's also critical to have a summary and to have it on a field that's always filled in. So I could have done this on the CRAID type field, or in this use case, I just did it on sheet name. Since this is a report that goes across multiple CRAID logs, I like to include the sheet name so that the user can click into that individual CRAID log. The sheet name is always going to be filled in, so I know that this count is going to be accurate. I'm going to go back. And that is how you build a current user dashboard. This gives me a one-stop shop, a landing page to see everything that I have on my plate right now, what I need to take immediate action on across all of my projects, not just one individual project at a time. One last thing that I'll leave you with to be aware of for a current user dashboard, there is the use case where there is not any data in the report for a user. So let's say I don't have any past due tasks. What does that mean for the report? Well, that means it's gonna show this report as blank and it's gonna say no results found. So just keep that in mind. And then on the chart itself as well, you would see a visual that says all data filtered out. Sometimes there can be confusion. It can look like something's broken, but in fact, it just means there's no data that is meeting the criteria of the report. So that is what I'll leave you with. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more helpful tutorial videos.